Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. Yeah. You are now tuned into the Matthew Rizzle show. Yeah. Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. Yeah. You are now tuned into the Matthew Rizzle show. Yeah. Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. Yeah. You are now tuned into the Matthew Rizzle show. Yeah. Escape to the metaverse. Better act like you know. You are now tuned into the Matthew Rizzle show. Yeah.
Hey everyone, before we begin this week's episode, we just have a quick message from this month's sponsor, Curio. Based on the fantasy novel by British author Neil Gaiman, American Gods is unlike anything else on television. Epic in scope, ambitiously cinematic in style, exhilarating and provocative, it has redefined fantasy drama. Coming off a sellout of the original American Gods NFT collection, Curio is dropping Motel America, the second series of NFTs that celebrates our favorite and never released American Gods. Collect the Motel America NFT collection now from American Gods by visiting oncurio.com. That's ONCURIO.com. Thank you and enjoy this week's show. Okay, Chad, welcome to the Matthew Rizzle show.
Thanks. Good to be here.
So to get started, I think a little introduction about who you are, what you've been doing kind of professionally would be great. And then we can go from there into what you're creating with Carbon and all that good stuff.
Yeah, sure. So I've come from a little bit of a different background for crypto. I was a photographer for 25 years, fashion photographer. So working with some big companies, Tom Ford, Dior Beauty, different things like that. Got into a bit of a film as well, so we were doing some film for these companies as well. And and then got into crypto in sort of 2016-17. Kind of got wrecked in the wallet and enlightened in the mind in 2017, and things opened up, and I've just been learning, and my partner, my co-founder, she was at Harrods for 10 years as digital online editor, and we came together and we started working on a product that we wanted to create an easy sort of gateway access for creatives to come into crypto and into this new digital economy, the NFT economy. So we've set about that, and it's been a crazy ride so far, but a really fun one.
Dude, I just gotta say before we continue, I absolutely love the quote, wrecked in the wallet, enlightened in the mind. I don't know that I've ever heard that before, and I'm totally stealing it from you moving forward. Yeah. Like, what a great way to encapsulate like how so many people have, sort of forayed into this space, and only the strongest survive type of thing. Like, if you believe in it enough after you've been like totally gutted, then you just start building things to, make it better. Yeah. Dude, really cool story, man. Can you tell us about Carbon itself and how you started with that? And I know it's been gaining steam lately, for people in our audience who, our audience is generally very NFT knowledgeable, very crypto knowledgeable. So, you can probably save the painful, intro to cryptocurrency conversations that I'm sure you do and we all do, ad nauseum. But yeah, man, what's the overview on Carbon?
Yeah, so we came together and we wanted to create a sort of gateway for these exceptional creatives that are all around us that we've been working with to come into this space, really. I think it's absolutely essential. There's been a massive divide of art and commerce over the years. as the digital, as everything has been digitalized and dematerialized, and if you look at things like publishing and where I came from in the photography basis, you've got photographers that were doing physical photography, and then it was being published in physical magazines, and the art and commerce was together. There was payment, there was money in the game, and then you had this digitalization and file sharing system, and now you've got subscription systems and things like that. But it's still, for instance, these photographers are doing photo shoots, digital photo shoots being shared everywhere, and the magazines are using it in their social channels, and the payment isn't there as much, and the forward-looking scene is that all these creators are going to get sucked into this to creating NFTs or having their work, but then having an NFT with it, and having the secondary market value, structures and payments, and having some art and commerce together with their craft, really. So we've created Carbon as an easy access point to get some of these insane people into this digital economy, So a lot of them find it difficult to think about how to come in, joining up on Coinbase, getting Ethereum, having a MetaMask wallet, taking down their seed phrases, like sending that Ethereum over to the MetaMask wallet, and just so many different friction points. So we're starting with, we've put this stack system together, this software stack system together that enables you to have fiat in there, a debit card. When the user lands in there, it's very much like their Monzo, their Chime, and then you've got crypto as well as an NFT vault. So it's kind of like an all-in-one super wallet, and then we want to enable that to be, to be able to plug into Web3 applications and metaverse, virtual reality. So that's the wallet system, and then we've got in the middle we've got a marketplace, and within this marketplace it's a curated marketplace, and that connects into there. And we're selecting and working with some really big people to showcase what we do, and we want to do drops inside the marketplace. And some of these creators that we will want to work with, they're huge, but they haven't come into this digital economy yet. So for us, we can work with them. They can have a Carbon account. They can drop their work into our marketplace, and then they get payment into their Carbon account. The users, it's a simplified process for them to come in and be a part of it. So then they can get involved, and just drawing more people into this new world. So and once we attract those users, there's the users that aren't there. You've got big sort of massive luxury houses, fashion houses that we're talking to. They're 99% of their user base don't know how to get into this, or aren't very crypto knowledgeable. So again, us making it easy means that those users can come in, and those brands can then play and work with us and extend out their reach to a new audience and create an extra level of what they're doing, with their brands. So it's exciting, and we're just at kind of early-ish stages, but progressing really well.
So like the Holy Grail is basically what you're working on here. I mean, I'm looking, you got, I mean, I'm joking, but in all seriousness, man, like the wallet, the marketplace, like the ease of onboarding, I feel like the thing that's been missing for so many people in this place to be successful with their project is like a way to obfuscate like all these friction points that you had mentioned. And there's like so much painfulness in onboarding. Dude, I'm really like curious, and I don't know if you've got like if it's some top secret holy grail type of situation going on, but like, in terms of onboarding people, using fiat, navigating the like classification of, a lot of these NFTs as digital assets and like the tax implications and like, how to make that into a user-friendly experience, I feel like is something everybody's working on right now. And dude, I just really genuinely interested in like, from a ground level user experience, how many of those pain points have you gotten rid of? I pull up your website, I'm like, dope, this looks amazing. Everything's all in one spot. You got a currency associated with it. I like everything that's going on here. Can you take me like sort of through the process of like onboarding a casual users who's like, I understand crypto, I understand Bitcoin, I get the concept of NFTs. Like, how do I get involved easily?
Yeah. Well, what we're doing is at first we're going to roll out slowly. We're quite a tight core team. There's about 12 of us, maybe going on to 20. But we've got a rollout schedule. So what we're going to do is the first is going to be type beta testing over the summer, and then a friends and family group. And then we'll have a capsule of people, influencers, people from industry insiders, creatives, and then that'll be say 500, and then it'll roll on to 5,000. Then we'll open it up even more. But we need to make sure that everything's quality. And what will happen is that from a user perspective, there'll be two user journeys. So the first user journey will be if you're in the countries where you will be able to have the fiat in the system. So it'll be the UK and the EU, and then we're going to roll that to the US. But if you're in those countries, then you'll sign up. You'll do a very fast KYC procedure, and then you'll be into the wallet system. So you'll land in the wallet system. Again, we want to keep it user friendly, so it has to be. The user interface is going to be, similar to, or you can see it on the website, but, something that's friendly that people are the people that we're attracting, or the people that are going for sort of your Gen Z, 18 to 35, say, someone, people that are in these digital courses at university, they're doing digital fashion, they're doing, they're kind of adapt with what's going on, but maybe they've got a crypto wallet, but they haven't explored that much. We're going to make it exciting for them to come in there through the people that we work with and capture these people. But they come into the application, they see the wallet. It's a fiat system that they used to, say, from Monzo or Chime or something, and then you can go through, and then you can have a look at your crypto side. You can put in crypto, and then you can go into your market and into the marketplace, and we're going to do special drops from, as I said, from people that we admire and we want to work with, and we want to pull into this new digital economy. And there's going to be sort of digital drops for these users to be able to purchase their work. That work, if it's a digital item, say for instance, it's if we're talking about fashion, digital a range of digital sunglasses that maybe one of 10 that will drop in, and then when the user buys it, it will drop into their NFT vault. we're working with a company called Shape Immersive to do the augmented reality, and then within the application, so you'll be able to press on the augmented reality button, it pops up on your face. You can see this designed collection on your face in augmented reality. Then you can take a picture and share it through your social channels. So that's one user journey. Then, you know, there'll be, for people outside of those countries, we're gonna still have the crypto side of things, but not the fiat side of things, and they'll be able to access the marketplace in the middle. But it's not only going to be digital products in the marketplace; it's going to be physical products as well. So we're working with a buyer, multiple buyers actually, that are quite big within the fashion industry. And we are doing a drop shipping system. So they will select items, fashion items that we think the user will like. And there'll be an artificial intelligence system that will learn what you like, and if you like it, if it will put it to the top. So every time you go in there, it's like an infinite scroll system in the marketplace. There'll be products there that we think that you will like. So, you know, we want to work with emerging designers from all over the world and connect them into our system to be able to drop physical items as well as digital. But then we can work with those emerging designers to create physical items, but then have some sort of augmented reality on top of their physical items. We could work with, we could create all kinds of different possibilities for those emerging designers or like established designers. And we can work with them to create their first digital collection as well. So there's possibilities there in the physical and the digital. And yeah, it's going to be fun working with the people coming through, and yeah, trying to add an extra layer of something exciting onto the already established companies or designers, to give an audience an extra level of excitement or usability for their products and for their brand.
That's great. And I definitely want to get into the digital fashion aspect of what you guys are doing. But before that, I know you've been building on the Polkadot network, which I think is really cool. But it's obviously very different from like the Ethereum network that has captured at least a majority of the NFT mindshare up until this point. I'm just curious, from a project design perspective, like why did y'all roll with the Polkadot network? And have you had any kind of challenges by choosing that, at least early on, as you're kind of competing against mindshare from folks that are kind of more established or familiar with Ethereum?
Yeah, so we're on Ethereum at the moment, but we want to move over via Moonbeam to the Polkadot network, and we want to reward creators within our application through our native gems token. So eventually we want to have a system where when you go into the marketplace and you scroll through different items and different items from say emerging designers, and we are going to move into music as well. So we want to say pick out an emerging musician of such that we think is incredible, and then get them to sort of do their first ever drop in our marketplace, or do like a virtual reality gig with them where we can connect in our wallet and they can do some gig in virtual reality, and they have to, the users can buy a ticket through gems in our application and then get access to it. Something like that where they're in the system and in our infinite scroll system. We want people to be able to double tap and it to just deposit them with some gems with our native token, so a microtransaction of such. So those microtransactions we're working on, and we want to use the Polkadot system to enable that, and then interoperability, and our CTO is definitely really keen on multiple things that can offer us. So yeah, it's an interesting one, and he's going to lead us on that over the coming months and into that system.
Okay. And then, well, is the name of your project Carbon? Is that more, I mean, yeah, I'm just wondering if you kind of can unpack that. It seems rather significant, especially, I mean, I guess with the direction of going towards migrating more of the blockchain aspect to a chain like Polkadot. But yeah, curious about the origin story of the name.
Well, it's more of I'm like a bit of a science geek, and I always, with carbon being the most abundant element and everything made up of carbon, I just thought that was, it was a really cool name, and I love that. But yeah, that's another point actually. We wanted to another point to move over to Polkadot is that we want to move on to POS and things like, thinking about the environmental factors is important for us and important for our audience and our user base. So yeah, that's another reason for moving over.
Dude, I'm really interested as, someone who works for a company that is also platform building, although in a different niche. Again, man, going back to the ease of entry, I feel like the concept of what you're doing is, progressive and something that will absolutely be a thing in the space. And I feel like the constant question is, how to, create a product that's user-friendly enough to, tap into the audience that you're trying to tap into. And, everyone keeps going back to this KYC thing. And, again, just curious as you're building this, your perspective on, do you feel like as crypto becomes more like the norm and NFTs become more like in the mainstream and consumer friendly and everything, do you feel like people eventually just sort of get accustomed to jumping through the KYC hoops? Or do you feel like it's our job as platform builders to, minimize the, those pain points as much as humanly possible, in the event that, or just for now under the assumption that eventually this all gets streamlined and resolved in some way where we don't have all these weird points of entry that people have to navigate. Because I feel like ideally what, I'm sure you would love to happen and what we would all love to happen is we just download the Carbon app, you see something awesome, you just swipe your credit card and you don't even, you get the gems in your wallet, but you sort of get rid of all the, tech stuff that we're also accustomed with, but mainstream fashion icons, designers, consumers might not want to mess with or, goof around with. So again, man, back to just tapping into your audience, how do you see that playing out as time goes on?
Yeah, it would be nice to just get rid of all that. But what we're going to do is, the audience that we're attacking is, it's say your Net-a-Porter matches Essence customer that isn't in crypto yet and isn't in this environment, and that's how we've set up our UI, UX, and they're the kind of people we want to pull into this ecosystem, because I think crypto's it's changed now. It's about more than just finance, but still we want to pull it in with some kind of sexy application that and events and certain things that we do to really get people into the system, but to learn about the system in certain ways. The KYC thing, yeah, it's annoying, but what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and make it as fast as possible, make it as easy as possible. And that's what we're working on with new sort of partners, new KYC partners. And then, also while they're there, we want to, take information about, what we can pull into the, other aspects. So within a marketplace, as we do physical products, what's their size, those sort of things that we can pull in as well. So they don't have to do it when they're in the marketplace. They might as well do it all when they sign up, and then they don't have to do it in the marketplace later. So we're trying to sort of fuse that together. It's there. It's annoying, but try and make use of it in some other way as well.
And I mean, I guess as the NFT space has kind of exploded over the past few months and soared past the $500 million market cap, it's been amazing to see the interest from folks throughout the creative industry kind of jump in mass into the space, trying to build products for people that speak to them, that resonate with them. And personally, just being in crypto for a minute and working with Rizzle and these metaverse meetups that we also do on the side, digital fashion has been something that's always been really interesting to me. Digital fashion more in the sense of like digital wearables that people are wearing in digital spaces. But given your background and how you're kind of orienting your marketplace to speak to a particular demographic, I'm really excited to see like in real life, like physical fashion incorporated into your app. I'm just wondering if you can kind of talk for a minute, because fashion, digital fashion, photography have all sort of been on the sideline as a lot of the digital 3D art has exploded in the NFT scene up until this moment. So I'm just wondering how you guys are trying to kind of wedge real photography, fashion, everything into the consciousness of folks and kind of integrate the NFT experience into that.
Well, it's huge. Like, people think of the first phase has been obviously digital art, and that scene has exploded. Digital fashion is going to be incredible, because if you think about it's a multi-trillion-dollar industry. These big corporations, big global luxury houses, they're all trying to do something different. They're all trying to push into a new environment. They're all trying to push into the next scene to make, to bring commerce into virtual reality. And I always say that now it's going to be in a kind of a collectible stage. Maybe the hardware hasn't caught up. Although you look at Facebook, and they're working with Ray-Ban at the moment to make augmented glasses that just look like Ray-Bans, normal Ray-Bans. Once you get more of that, say Prada do it, and other big companies start moving into that space, and then you get the augmented reality environment, where you can transform your clothes into something else. So you've got your physical clothes, but then on top of it, there's something else that gives it something extra. All these digital things are you have to have a proof of authentication and the NFT to go with it, and that's where they make huge amounts of commerce from that. But if you think about virtual reality for a second, most people know that Apple are going to get in the game. You look at Unreal Engine 5, which is exceptional graphics. And then you think about Unreal Engine 6, 7, a few years down the line, you could be putting on your virtual reality glasses, and you could say to your friends, let's go and have a beer in the south, or let's go and have a chat or a meeting in the south of France by the beach. And reality and digital and virtual reality becomes very similar. The graphics are so good. So then in the sense that you get up every day and you have a normal wardrobe, your physical wardrobe, when you go into virtual reality, you're going to have your digital wardrobe, and you're going to want, there's a space there for these designers to come in and design these digital items, these massive corporations, these massive luxury houses to design digital items. And that in sense of that, it's incredible. It's incredible where this is going to end up. So yeah, it's exciting. It's really exciting, and we want to be part of that. We want to be. Carbon wants to be part of that, and to sort of start playing and start interacting with these companies. We've brought on a huge creative executive director that does massive campaigns for Prada, Gucci, super well connected into that space, and we want to start exploring with these companies, and we already are talking, and then and emerging people to start designing for that world. So yeah, it's super exciting, and that extends out the possibilities of the NFT space into trillions, and it's once fashion gets involved, it's mass market time. Once these big corporations get involved, once these big houses get involved, they know how to hit the mass market, and yeah, that's when you have huge amounts of users coming into it.
Absolutely.
So,
man.
Dude, I want to outfit my digital avatar with some like Prada bags and Gucci shoes,
right.
and the belt and everything like that.
I was going to ask him to name drop, but then he did it.
It's like, when are we going to be able to do this? I want to buy those digital goods yesterday. But in terms of your insider's look into this timeline and getting all these massive and legacy entities together and coordinated in this very, very new direction, I mean, what's the time to market? Like, how long until folks like Rizzle and myself can be some of the most fashionable? Well, we're already pretty fashionable in the metaverse, but like legit.
Yeah, we're like their target audience, basically, man, in the metaverse.
Well, we're gonna push it. We're gonna work with these companies. That's our directive, and multiple other companies will come in, and it's so lucrative that it's going to get flooded. So I mean, everything's we think in linear, but there's it's going to go faster than we think, for sure. And yeah, once people really realize the lucrative opportunities, and I think they already are, maybe not so much in fashion yet, but they are. If my LinkedIn is probably different from your guys, but my LinkedIn and the people I've linked in with, they're all these companies are talking about it and how to get in and what to do and the future of it, and they're all super excited with this being the new landscape for them. So I don't know, maybe you're looking at 3-5 years until you got a really sort of complex landscape and system. Who knows? But like I said, it'll start out in sort of a collectible phase where users can collect these items, and then there's some sort of augmented reality, and then there's they can use it on, say, a video call, or like in some virtual reality environment, or possibly in games. But yeah, I think over the next sort of 2-3 years, you'll see so much more. So yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be exciting on that front.
Dude, I absolutely believe that augmented reality is going to become so ingrained in like so many of these industries, obviously fashion as well. It just, it's a technology that extends in like so many different directions. You mentioned Ray-Ban, working on some sunglasses, which, I can only imagine would be amazing. Curious, man, in the conversations that you've had, and, you're obviously like well entrenched in like the fashion industry and know who the big players are in the space. Who do you see like really tinkering around with like some of these technologies, and obviously like you could throw Prada logo on something in the metaverse and it would sell regardless of how like interested or like in touch with the technology there are. But I assume there are some companies that are like starting to embrace it or starting to like play around with their own stuff or like make inroads into like fashion and these technologies. Are there any like people, players, companies, within the space who really stand out to you as like, progressives that are thinking about 1-2 steps ahead of everybody?
Yeah, Kering. So they own like Gucci and Bottega, and they're very forward thinking, even though they're a massive corporation. They're forward thinking and they're experimental and they want to be on the cutting edge, which is great. But beyond that, a lot of what you'll find is that the emerging people or the midweight brands will push first, and they will show sort of proof of concept. And this is what we're going to do. This is what we're doing, is that we're working, I can't say who, but like we're working with some really big people within the industry. And we're going to do, we're going to set out and do some proof of concepts for people to really see what is possible and what we and how exciting it can be. And then as we expand into next year, we're going to be working with sort of the bigger companies. But yeah, it's there's, like I said, the smaller companies or the smaller designers, emerging people will be really keen to go forward. But yeah, Kering, they're really forward thinking.
And outside of the fashion element, just going through your site and looking at, like, after registering, like waiting to kind of get to the next step, looking at the kind of mock-up of what I believe the marketplace will look like. It looks like you have some like real like photography that'll go on for sale, and some artists that will be selling work on your marketplace. Sticking on the photography angle for a moment, because I work at Nifty Gateway and kind of been a collector in the space for a minute. And it's always been a little bit surprising to me how much photographers have kind of been on the sidelines. I think I mentioned this a little bit earlier too, and they haven't kind of had the spotlight shown on them as much as a lot of the other digital artists. I'm curious, like, why do you see photography having been not the focus for so long, or not being able to capitalize on the kind of hype that NFTs have gone through recently? And how do you see that sort of changing, or how do you see Carbon helping to change that for some of these photographers, or specifically like fashion photographers?
I think there's a trend in the fashion industry that a lot of these massive or big photographers using analog processes, going back to analog processes and more, the art of things and the developing and working in the dark room on colors and all that sort of process. But yeah, there's one of our directors, Dan Worthington. He owns a massive company called Roscoe Productions. They work with photographers all over the world. They do production for like the biggest campaigns and the biggest photographers. And yeah, there's a massive disconnect with their art and their commerce at the moment. A lot of them, are thinking, do I do this editorial and pay out thousands to do this editorial? And then, there's no guarantee of something coming back. So, but, a lot of them haven't really considered the NFT space yet, and it's early days. The photographers that we've talked to have similar friction points, where they've gone to maybe to look into super rare or foundation and then just come up with just too much friction. So yeah, I mean, that's something that we we will be working with people, you know, that we like, and bringing them into the system and get them used to things. But yeah, we're going to be in the future. We're going to be working. We've got a project that we haven't told anyone about yet, but you know, that is going to address photographers as well. But I think there's a huge space there that needs a void that needs to be filled to definitely you know, create this something for these people. So yeah, I mean, if we don't do it, then someone else will, and it will be done eventually. Like I said, this, you know, the fact that you can bring art and commerce together, and you can have your digital work now, and then it has you know, secondary market value, and you know, these secondary market perpetual contracts that will give you this money forever is going to drag everyone in. It's going to drag the photographers in at some point as well. But yeah, once the friction points come down and they feel comfortable in it, and also I think that you know, the very sort of, in the fashion industry, it's very snooty as well. You know, they want, you know, the UI UX to look in a specific way to reflect their branding. You know, they are brands themselves. Do they connect to foundation? Maybe not. Do they connect to super rare? Maybe a bit more. But then, you know, when you go into these applications, onto these marketplaces, do they see, you know, a flood of crypto art being sold? Does their photography sit in that environment? You know, does their brand sit well in that environment? Maybe not. So yeah, maybe that's something that, you know, needs to be addressed as well. You know, there's a separate hole there for you know, for someone to create something where it does fit for them. So yeah.
Dude, we'll absolutely be interested to, you know, see your project unfold, especially as, you know, you get closer and closer to the public release. Yo, man, one thing we love to do on the show as we come to a close is to sort of like shake down our guests and peek into their NFT wallets, and just always curious what people are collecting, interested in on the side that, you know, may not necessarily have anything to do with their current project. But we found that a lot of people have found their way into this space by, you know, by way of other projects or as a collector or something like that. So if you were to pop open your wallet, man, you have any like cool or interesting things in there that you could share?
Well, I haven't been collecting. I know that sounds really, really bad, but like, I haven't been collecting. I've looked into this space, and we've been working on what we've been doing, but yeah, I haven't been collecting. So
it's all good. I mean,
we'll forgive
collecting
you,
is like a full-time sport in and of itself.
Yeah.
So you're building out a whole new company with multiple touch points, so totally understandable.
Well, 100% I want to start. But I've, you know, I've looked into super rare foundation and everything, but yeah, I haven't started collecting yet. I will start collecting for sure in my own application, and then, you know, we'll build up from there for sure. But yeah, I've just been so busy the last 14 months, just been heads down with this, and yeah, it's just taken over my life really. So I will get to that phase at some point for sure.
100%. And before we leave the folks, just let everyone know where they can follow Carbon, look out for updates and all that good stuff.
Yeah, carbon.xyz. Yeah, just jump on there. Every time you refresh, there's a new video as well. So yeah, check out that. And yeah, sign up.
Very cool. Well, Chad, thank you so much for jumping on the Matthew Rizzle show with us and telling us what you're planning to build out with Carbon and all the interesting avenues and intersections that you're paving the way for when it comes to fashion, photography, and art in the NFT space. So thank you so much and keep on creating.
Yeah, thank you.